to commit felonious obstruction of justice, and 2 counts of possession of absentee ballots.
That in addition to uncovering and understanding more about what exactly was happening in Bladen County, that we obviously have an interest in who knew or understood what the process was down there, who was funding it.
Pay a bond, but you don't get your money back for that. Do you understand that?
Would they take the cashier's check?
That's up to the bond. Okay? So, yes, sir. You just do that with them. They're going to take you to a phone. You're allowed to call anyone you need to. Do you have any questions before you leave? Okay. These are all Mr. Dowse's. Your indictments are underneath that.
We're good.
To Reuters, the Wake County District Attorney's Office charged a man for orchestrating an absentee ballot fraud scheme during a congressional election. Leslie McCrae Dowless has been charged with multiple counts for organizing operatives to illegally collect and alter absentee ballots for North Carolina's 9th congressional district. Their efforts filled in ballots on behalf of Republican candidate Mark Harris. The counts against Dowless include 3 charges of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of conspiring to obstruct justice, and 2 counts of possession of absentee ballots. The scheme was revealed due to irregularities in the vote count, leading North Carolina's Elections Board to call for another election.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and I just received the breaking news that we have a new mayor in Quitman, Georgia. Much like the Quitman 10+2, Nancy Dennard being the first president of the Brooks County Board of Education, and now we have James Brown III, the first Black African-American mayor of Quitman, Georgia. First of all, we acknowledge that black does not make it right, but right always make it right. We must understand that the Quitman 10+2 brought Brooks County the first black majority in the history of that county. And as you know, the Quitman 10+2 was brought up on charges of alleged voter fraud, and after nearly 3 years, only one have had their day in court, and it ended up a mistrial. With all that has happened, with all of the complaints, with the elections in the past and identified problems at a particular meeting on July the 17th, 2012, highlighted major problems with the Brooks County Board of Elections, yet Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp were informed through formal complaint forms, given a DVD, among other detailed problems. And until this date, the people of Brooks County are still awaiting a response from Georgia Secretary of State and Glenn Austin, who was an investigator that came down from Macon at the bequest of the Secretary of State, yet nothing has been done. Moreover, the meeting was a total whiteout, and very little to nothing was done. This is the Ghetto Free Press, keeping you informed, because it is in time. It is indeed time that the people in South Georgia know the truth. To James Brown III, thank you to all your family that came down from New York and other places to congratulate you on your victory. As a graduate of Washington Street High School myself, from Brooks County, I say to you, as the Muslims say, Alhamdulillah. And to the Jews, I just say shalom to you. And as the Christians, I say peace and blessings be upon you and to all the great worthies that help you in your campaign.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right. Yes.
Falsified documents.
That's right. Yes.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand.
Yes.
All to try to make these citizens look guilty. Good evening, how you doing? Good evening. First of all, I'd like to say that we commend the Whitman team plus 2 for the way they handled themselves. It was just, the thing about it that was so beautiful is that it was all of us. And we had a wonderful team. Sister Lula Samard, Nancy Denner, Mrs. Simmons from Atlanta, and Attorney King. They made those people look like amateurs.
Amen.
Let me give you a little background, but I'm so thankful to the Whitman team plus 2 that they did not take a plea bargain.
Amen.
If they had been convicted of one crime, that would have been a felony on their records, and they would have been messed up for life. My prayer to God was total exoneration, innocent on all counts, and God brought us through.
Sure did.
I want to give you a little background. On December 2010, 10 citizens of Quitman, Georgia were arrested and accused of voter fraud. These citizens was arrested, unceremoniously put in orange jumpsuits, their names splattered all over the newspaper, the television, the radio, and this was only an indictment. An indictment is only an accusation. But yet these citizens were presumed guilty before there was even a trial. Amen. And we must understand that every citizen is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. When they was arrested, we thank God for the community that came together. And the first meeting was held at Bethel AME Church. We thank God for Bethel for opening their doors. I was a pastor there. We also like to thank our good friend Floyd Rose. Stand up, Pastor. God always have people in place when you need them the most.
Amen.
He is a stalwart in the civil rights movement. He knew what to do. He even named the Quitman 10. Amen. He showed us how to get this movement organized. And we thank God for him. He's from the SCLC. Amen. We thank God for them and Tyrone Brooks coming down and helping us. Also, during this movement, the NAACP was started here. And that was to, there might be future cases that might come up, and we'll have an organization in place to make sure we can handle this situation. Now, the United States Constitution guarantees each person equal protection under the law. The United States Constitution guarantees that every person of our nation is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The rights of these citizens were violated. Amen.
Yes, sir.
And what angers me so is the fact that Sister Latasha Head died
Yes,
with
Lord.
these accusations hanging over her head.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
yet there are still, with her, 11 people that still have to be tried. This case has been going on for 4 years.
Sir.
Now, you have to understand one thing, and that is, every person is entitled to a speedy trial. Their rights was violated. Now, why did it take over 4 years to bring these people to justice? It's because they didn't have a case.
Right, right, right.
Amen.
That's right.
They didn't have a case. They were hoping that they would take the plea. But when they didn't do that, they had to prove their case. And if you were in the courtroom,
That's right.
you would have seen one of the biggest fiascos you ever wanted to see in your life.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand,
That's right.
Yes,
falsified documents.
That's right.
yes,
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
yes,
did.
yes, yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand,
Sure did.
Yes.
all to try to make these citizens look guilty.
My Lord, my Lord.
But thank God that we have a God who sits high.
Come on now.
and he
Yes,
looks
sir.
down.
That's right.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Lord.
Lord.
That's right.
The sad thing about this case is Governor Deal,
Uh-huh.
who's the leader of the state of Georgia,
Uh-huh.
left the state capital
Uh-huh.
to come down here and suspend people who were elected to the school board.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
This election was certified
Yes, sir.
and without due process of law.
That's right.
Every person is entitled to due process of law,
Yes.
That's right.
but he's put it upon himself to suspend Dr. Nancy Danner, who has a doctor's degree,
Yes, sir.
Sister Diane Thomas, who has a master's degree,
Earn.
and
Yes.
Sister Linda Troutman.
Yes, Lord.
They treated us like, excuse me for saying us,
Earn.
because I was just as angry as they were.
That's right. That's right.
Every citizen in Brooks County should have been angry
Upset.
Come on now.
Yes, sir.
for the way
Yes,
they
sir.
treated our citizens.
Yes,
That's right.
sir.
But yet many people didn't get involved because, number one, you thought they was guilty because the white man said they were.
There it is. There it is.
Come on now. Ooh, there it is.
That's all right.
That's it. And you're scared.
Come on now. That's it. That's it.
My question is, how are you going to get the horse back into the barn?
Yes, he is.
That's right.
These people's names have been tarnished, their reputation besmirched. They have been talked about, accused of different things. And now they are proven innocent. How are you going to get the horse back in the... How will you restore these people good name and reputation? How are we going to do that? We need to look at that and see what we can do to help them restore their good name. One thing that most people didn't understand, and I'm getting ready to close, were that when the G.B.R, the Secretary of State, canvassed the community, they tried to strike fear in the heart of the black community.
Woo! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
They didn't want you to vote.
That's right.
They especially didn't want you to vote absentee because those absentee ballots can be accounted for.
Yes, sir. Paper
That's
trail.
right. Paper
This
trail.
trial proved that there was corruption downtown.
That's right.
If it wasn't for the absentee ballots, it never would have been uncovered.
That's right.
Many people don't understand that when those incumbents were declared the winner that night and woke up and had lost the election that next day, it's because they didn't intend to count the absentee ballot.
That's right. That's right.
But God prevailed. Amen.
Amen.
The prosecution changed the wording on the ballots to prosecute Lula Smart. The language was not there in 2010. They changed it
My Lord, my Lord.
That's right.
on the ballot to make it look like she was guilty. The prosecution suppressed evidence.
Yes, sir!
They hid evidence.
Show they did! I'm a witness!
Amen. Show them. Speak it. Tell the truth.
I believe that we ought to demand, as concerned citizens,
Yes.
that they drop the charges on every remaining member.
Woo! There it is! Woo! There it is!
What's so amazing is that Sister Dana and all of the workers on the poll had been trained.
Yes.
They knew what to do. But yet they tried to make it look like they were incompetent. But God prevailed.
Amen.
Few of the fallacies of this trial, and then I'm going to sit down.
Amen.
I don't know about you, but I got angry when I looked. I didn't even vote absentee ballot that time. And here come the G.B.R. and the Secretary of State knocking on my door.
Wow.
Wow.
But one thing that happened that most people don't understand is that you all shut them down.
Amen.
Amen.
You all shut them down. When you told them that we're not going to answer your question, we voted who we wanted to vote for, I did what I wanted to do, get out of my yard.
Woo! There it is!
We don't have to be afraid no longer.
All right. Amen.
It's so much I could go on, but I'm going to
Tell the story.
Jesus.
I'm going to yield. But there were so many fallacies.
Yes.
And I hope and pray that we all learn a lesson from this.
Yes.
That we're not going to let anybody come in our community
No.
and disrespect our people. These were the leading citizens of our community that they went after.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Woo! There it is!
If the head falls, the body, you kill the head, the body gonna die.
Die.
But see, they didn't know Nancy Denham, and Lula, and Diane, Miss Sharpman,
That's right.
and they didn't know.
They didn't know.
But I knew from the beginning, and that they were innocent from the start. I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 50s. I was born in 1952. Amen.
Amen.
And I know the tactics of the other man. They'll do anything to win.
Oh yes. Oh
But
yes.
I want to say to you and to all of the people who prayed and supported the Quitman team. I know some of you wanted to be there, but you had to work. I know some of you could have been there, but you chose not to. But thank you for your prayers. Thank you for just putting them up before God.
Amen.
And allowing God to use them. Whether you know it or not, God used them.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yes,
There was a gentleman that called me from San Francisco, and he said, "What in the world are y'all doing out there?" He got on our organization, the NAACP, because they didn't come here. I'm angry because the president of the NAACP didn't show his face.
Tell it.
And I'm angry.
Tell it.
Now he writing all kind of articles. Want the Quitman 10 plus 2 to come up there and talk. Where was he when they needed him the most? That's a little bit of the history, and I'm going to close with this. The Get Out the Vote campaign of the Quitman 10 plus those who helped was the most brilliant campaign I have seen in my life. People voted who had never voted before in their life.
Amen.
People who couldn't make it to the polls. And they got beat at their own game.
Come on, man. That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
It was a brilliant campaign. It was well planned, well organized. And many other communities are looking at what the Quitman 10 plus 2 did. And they're doing the same thing in their communities.
Of course.
So we say Quitman 10 plus 2, don't stop doing what you're doing.
Right now.
We're fast getting a new council. I told one of the white gentlemen that he was wondering how did the mayor get beat. And I told him that everybody who touched the Quitman 10, we
Look
can
out,
go
man.
after.
Look out. There it is.
Amen. I don't know about y'all, but you ain't gonna mess with no.
Tonight, some disturbing news from Georgia. The new front in the shameful nationwide attempt by the GOP to suppress the vote. The Secretary of State, a Republican, has been caught on tape warning about minority voters turning out at the polls.
In closing, I just wanted to tell you real quick, after we get through this runoff, the Democrats are working hard. There's been all these stories about them, registering all these minority voters that are out there and others that are sitting on the sidelines. If they can do that, they can win these elections in November.
This is blatantly partisan. It's a blatantly partisan comment from the state's top election official. He then went on to urge Republicans to match those efforts.
We've got to do the exact same thing. I would encourage all of you, if you have an Android or Apple device, download that app. Make it your goal just to register one new Republican voter.
This is the same person who's investigating Georgia's largest Democratic voter registration effort, accusing the group of committing voter fraud. There's a concerted effort on the right to make voting more difficult for certain folks in Georgia. State Republicans have already cut 24 early voting from the calendar this year. And on Tuesday, Republican State Senator Fran Miller wrote an angry response to a new early voting station in DeKalb County. Quote, "Now we are to have Sunday voting at South DeKalb Mall just prior to the election. This location is dominated by African-American shoppers and is near several large African-American mega churches. We will try to eliminate this election law loophole in January."
Yes, I am back in Gordon, Georgia. They say I am many things. In fact, they say I'm many ugly things. But to you who know me, you know what I'm all about. And I'm going to give you a little bit more of what I'm all about. So listen, please. The Wilkinson County Post covered the last city council meeting here in Gordon. I wasn't at this meeting because I was in Meg's. They wanted me over there to cover what was going on there. And I did that Monday of last week. And you already know about that because it's listed on this YouTube channel. But as I was given a copy of the Wilkinson County Post, volume 14, April 24th, front page coverage reads, "Gordon Mayor accomplishes little during council meeting." The story is done by Judy Bailey. And it talks about Monday night's meeting without much drama, but without much action as well. Anybody that's been coming to these meetings since Mayor Mary Ann Whippaloo became mayor, there has been friction at these meetings. Police have had to keep the order. In some cases, even they fail to keep order in this public meeting in the state of Georgia. The last meeting that I covered, and you can see that on this channel, was terminated by the mayor at first. Then a reluctant attorney finally gave her some advice, and she continued with the meeting and actually took a motion from the council in a second, and she closed the meeting for what could have very well been violence at the meeting. I thought that was a wise decision. But I also looked around and I couldn't understand why a mayor pro tem would be against the mayor when he, Edith, is the mayor pro tem. I couldn't understand that. In my most humble opinion, I've been to many council meetings. The police have always kept the peace at public meetings and county commissioners meeting in particular. Most cases, the chairman or the mayor don't have to say anything. The chief of police knows what it's like to maintain order in order to carry on the affairs of the people that they serve. Haven't finished yet. I have seen this very same thing happen in Meigs, Georgia. And it's amazing. It seemed as if though after blacks became the mayor of cities in Georgia, that they lost the traditional respect for an elected mayor, wherein for years blacks never did this to white mayors, not even during segregation when we couldn't even use the water fountains and we couldn't use public facilities on the highways. And yet, we have had mayors stripped of their powers, locked out of their offices, not given offices after being elected to the office, can't get audits on how taxpayers' dollars was spent before they came into office to set the record straight, so they would start with a new slate so nobody could say that they were taking money like maybe previous administration may have taken money or misappropriated money or created secret banking accounts that nobody know about. And so it just made good sense to have an audit or somebody to balance the books, especially like in Meigs, I'm told, when people have been caught misusing, misappropriating taxpayers' money. We hear people talk about we want smaller government. People talking about the federal government intruding upon our rights. But in the early days of this nation, if black Americans did not have the federal government to protect them from these states' rights that was oppressing them, although they fought to secure the rights for everybody, it was the federal government that came in and made it possible for women to get the right to vote. Even white women. Have you all forgotten that? So why now? Everybody talking about they hate the government. Well, my civics lesson tells me that the government is the people. So are you telling me that you no longer want the people to have a voice in their government? We had better think today, y'all. Our sons and daughters who put that uniform on and put their life on the line to go fight these wars, we had better wake up to the realities of now. After 498 years, for Americans to still be struggling for the right to vote, the right to have their votes counted, we had better wake up. It's not all this is not about Mary Ann Whippaloo. This is about Mayor Charles C. Brown III in Quitman, Georgia. This is about Mary Ann, or rather Linda Harris in Meigs, Georgia. This is about the mayor in Davis Boroughs, Georgia. This is about Mayor George Ivey. This is about Mayor Chris Wright in Douglas, Georgia. This is about all of these mayors and about 5 others that have called me in the state of Georgia. Yet the governor of the state of Georgia don't see a problem apparently the Secretary of State and the Attorney General don't see a problem. But the people see a major problem. They see a major problem. And they know that the God of our ancestors, sooner or later, will deal with this. And we must be ready not to let mayors like Mayor Ann Whippaloo go down this road alone. Representative Tyrone Brooks. This is the Ghetto Free Press. I have two sheriff deputy cars. I understand here to serve some type of papers. I'm at Mayor Whippaloo's house.
City Hall. Any key you have to the City Hall.
Who's the judge?
The same one that's always been, Mr. Judge Reeves. Oh, yeah.
So I need to go and get my things from there to remove everything.
No, ma'am.
Can I go back in the city hall?
She can go back in the City Hall as a citizen, not as a mayor.
Oh, so
You cannot, you can go to the city council meeting, but not as a mayor.
Right before the meeting tonight, this is why I've been asking for Governor Nathan Deal to step in this. Secretary of State, Attorney General Olsen need to really step in Gordon, in Meigs, and other cities in the state of Georgia. This is just a few minutes before tonight's meeting.
Okay, our next order of business is old business. We have on the agenda A, adopt Georgia Fund 1 resolution. We're open for discussion.
Madam Mayor, may I add a question? I feel, my contention that it's really useless to keep that fund there in the Georgia one. There's only $5,300 in that fund now, so if there's a legal signature on that fund right now, we need to just transfer that, to our general fund and just close that fund out and be through with it,
You see, my problem with this is that state's open. With all that's going on, when I call that Secretary of State's office, there have been money transferred out of that fund, huge humps of money. And I was instructed by that Secretary of Treasury that the only person authorized to offer the transfer was me. And I let her know straight up, I have not authorized any transfer except one. When Mr. Warner wrote the $10,000 to Bill and I wrote that note, that's the only one that I authorized. And she said, if we close this account, we will not have a ledger or a paper trail once this account is closed. The $85,000 in that account is going interest very little. But until we get some things resolved and find out what's going on with the money situation, as far as I'm concerned with the audit going on, this is not a good time to close any account.
Can I expand on that a little bit?
What do you mean?
What is the audit plan on that?
You see that I will not sit here and talk about such all this time. You know the officer has been locked out, coming in here. But I said this on the field. I talked to Bill this evening. Bill instructed me, and I quote him. What he said to me today was, I need to get in 2 weeks. I need 2 weeks to come down to City Hall to finish up this audit. Because there are some very suspicious and disturbing transactions that have taken place. Now, without revealing what was going on, that's what he said before, and that's what I'm telling you. And you all got calls now, you can call me yourself. But right now, it's not a good time to be closing any account. Not with my name on it. When if I close this account, which I was told I was the only one can do it, I have a problem with closing something that I had authorized to be open in the first place. My name was on there, but I've had no dealing with this account. And there have been money because I looked at the ledger. There have been money transferred. And for me to close it right now is not a good idea because the paper trail is not good. Until the auditor can look at it or somebody look at this and we get to the bottom of what's going on, the account will not be closed if I have to close.
I understand, but months and he hadn't done anything beforehand?
He's been working up there, busy too, and he's been requesting information. What we need to do is allow him to come to City Hall, work with him, and allow him to complete the audit. The problem we're having is everybody's supposed to sign where's the money. That's a good point. The audit is very much leading when the attorney for the concerned citizen states to the county that we are on the verge of bankruptcy. Now, if we're on the verge of bankruptcy, we need to know what's going on with the money. Now, he made that statement, and he ended in the courtroom by saying, yes, we are on the verge of bankruptcy because the mayor and certain of her council members have been living frivolously or whatever, or just spending the city money. So if we're on the verge of bankruptcy, we need a report. And that concerned citizen state on the poster, where's the money? I want to know too. So let's let the audit do this thing. We have a choice. If we want to disengage Bill, that's fine. But we need to engage somebody to come here and complete this audit. We've got too far in the process to stop right now.
I know we all signed and volunteered to be on the all people committee. And I thought if we just more or less over that committee, you know, keep aware of what is going on.
Excuse me, they can't hear you.
Well, I ain't got a microphone, so I try to talk loud so everybody can hear me. But my interest in this is, I didn't realize that one council person could make a decision on any of those things that we got each one of us look at. I didn't know. I thought the council had to make a meeting, have a meeting and talk about and vote on anything like that. I didn't know one person had that authority to close or open an account and that. I might be wrong, I am.
And you're not wrong, Scott. I didn't know that either.
Huh?
I didn't know that either, but when I talked to the woman at the office, she told me that. She said, Mr. Reed, be it known that you are the only individual that's on this account that can authorize transferring money and closing this account. And I said, let me tell you something, ma'am, I hadn't authorized nobody to transfer about one dime. And I will admit, the note that I wrote her to pay the auditor so we can get this thing going, that's the only one I said. I asked in the meeting, could we get $10,000 out of Missouri and pay the auditor? And Mr. Wallace said to me, you need to write me a note for that. And I did. It was not threatened. It's been in the paper. And so we need to get to the bottom. And I was not issue my name to say close an account. I want to know what's going on with the account. I'm the one standing there saying, they saying I had authorization. I didn't know that either. But once I learned that, then I said, hey, we're going to get a handle on this. Because whatever went on, I want to know myself because I'm involved with it. And I ain't authorized nobody to move anyone. And we're not talking about $5,000, $10,000 either.
Before the end of last year, how many other people were on that signature besides you? I understand that the previous, could I ask Mr. Brown who was on it before?
Sure, well here it is right here, the original.
Could I see it please, ma'am?
Well, here's all the things.
Y'all give me just one second. The ones that were on it?
Me, the man from 42, I saw.
Okay. Before the first of the year?
Nope. She sent me a copy of it. I was throwing that on March, sometime in March of 2013. It was changed. Some of the accounts were changed or something.
It was changed, it came directly out of the general fund account instead of being deposited straight to the general fund savings where it originally set up. Instead of having to make an extra transfer each time, we had to put it through it to go directly to the general fund checking account to save itself.
But when you say we, who are you? Who are we?
The mayor, Turner, you and me signed it.
No, we signed it, but I didn't know what y'all were doing as far as the transfer. I'm not gonna say that. Like, I did not know y'all were transferring.
You read it, I mean, you that read it, signed it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. But let me tell you something.
That's all.
My name is there. But I have not authorized nobody to transfer no money.
you don't have to if one of the other ones do it.
Well, I feel the ones that transferred it, let them close. I didn't authorize nobody transfer, so I'm not authorizing nobody to close.
That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. Good. But the record shows that you, Mayor Turner, and Ms. Brown were all on that, and any money that was moved before the end of the year, back for the last 8 to 10 years, when the council voted to move all that money, then they
We voted as a council as a whole.
We certainly did.
Okay, I got no problem with that. As a whole, the council voted. But as an individual, let me make sure it's the record reflect that I did not, as an individual, authorize one penny to be transferred to any account.
Any further discussion? Well, I'll call for recommendation.
What do we need to do now, Madam Mayor? I mean, we need to put a few signatures on it just to keep it going, or just leave it just with Mr. Breeson or Ms. Brown?
Right about now, my recommendation would be that we just table this
Okay.
until, further, you know.
So you have experience, I guess, disruptive meetings like
Yes,
this.
sir. You can ask me about that. Yes, sir. I know what's going on, too.
So obviously, it's not a normal meeting. So tell me just what you saw in there today.
Well, first of all, my name is George.
Yeah, tell me your name is spelled. Go ahead and get that out of the way.
My name is George Boston Rhymes, and I have a YouTube called Boston G.B.R. on YouTube. What I saw here tonight is nothing different from what is happening in Quitman, Georgia, what is happening in Meigs, Georgia, what is happening in Dawson, Georgia, what is happening in Davisboro, Georgia, what is happening in here, of course, is everywhere that there's a black mayor in power, and if it's newly elected, this is what is happening. People think that this is isolated. It's not isolated. People are highlighting what is going on. Blacks who are elected to power are being taken out of power by changing even from a city-type government or a mayoral-type government to a city manager-type government. This is nothing new. We see this across the state of Georgia, so this is nothing new.
So what do you think about just the way it was ended and then restarted? Does that say anything about?
All right, first of all, the mayor has to, she must be careful. She must be careful in this regard. There are those who will push your button. There was so much animosity in that meeting as I filmed it, and you could see it. Therefore, she should have been, in my opinion, I don't want this taken out of context, but what she should have done, not take it, she became frustrated, I think, because of the disorder. And so she said, I'm going to adjourn the meeting to get control, maybe before somebody gets hurt. But the thing was, what should have been done was that she should have taken it through the process, which was asking to close the meeting and get a motion and a second. That's just straight Robert's Rules of Order. But the point is that she was dealing with so much here tonight, and she was trying to maintain the peace. I see the same thing. If you go to my channel, Boston G.B.R., you'll see the same thing. They arrest the people, or up in Meigs, Georgia. There's a great fight going on up there. The Georgia Attorney General are aware of what's going on. It's not just here. It's around the state of Georgia. Everywhere that there is a black mayor, this is what is happening now. It's just straight talk. Now, you may not put this on TV, but just straight talk. Next question, my brother.
Mayor, would you like to say anything just about the state of this meeting tonight?
What he said is what it is.
I mean, I've told you a few weeks, you know, everybody's like, well, y'all are only reporting one side, so I've been trying to get your side. And
well, in my opinion, I think that what is happening, these mayors are under so much pressure. They damn if they do and they damn if they don't. It's just that simple. I've talked to all these mayors. I'm talking to them. I'm visiting. That's why I'm here tonight. I was called here. I wouldn't have known if somebody had called me. They want to see this government function like a government in the United States of America, not like in Russia, China, or any other. If the people voted her in office, she should have the power to govern like black folk have been sitting under white folk all of our lives. And it is indeed time now, according to the scriptures of Jesus, want for your neighbor that which you want and have for yourself. And if we have been always following white people, why can't white people follow Robert's Rules and Order and check the money? All people want to do is a tally on the money. This is nothing new. If you go to the Quitman 10, the Brooks County Board of Education, they want to know about the money. You go to Meg, the question is the money. You go to Dawson, Georgia, it's about the money. Everywhere you go, it's about the money. Georgia Attorney Sam Olson said what he wants is open government. He got the little red handbook that he give out. Well, I'm saying to Governor Nathan Deal, and I'm saying to the Georgia Attorney General, and I'm saying to Eric Holder, as we've said so many times, if he's not concerned about open government, then close the door and tell us we are not about open government. I mean, that's just straight talk. I am a retired military veteran. I served 21 years during the Vietnam era. And for me to see what is happening in the state of Georgia tonight, because I've seen so many other cities in Georgia, it's just about to blow my mind. We got people, when we go to war, we don't worry about no black and white. They want somebody to pick up that M16, go behind enemy lines and do what must be done. And that's what we do.
So can I ask you just a blunt question?
Yes, sir. Any question you want, brother, because I was born into the world.
Obviously, you believe that there's racism here. Would you say it's
No, you didn't hear me say racism. You didn't hear that. First of all, that clarified.
Before, at the very start.
I didn't say no racism.
So you don't believe there's racism in Gordon?
There is racism across the world. In Palestine, in Israel. But I won't say it's racism here tonight. What I say is here tonight, in my most humble opinion, is a disrespect for a mayor that was elected by the voters in Georgia. And so that's what I'm talking about. Let's don't focus on racism, because if you focus on racism, then you get tied on the ism like chemists or biologists or all these isms and isms. But we don't want the isms and isms, we want to get to the race. And in the word race, you got ace. And if the people elected this lady, she is the ace for city government, that means we fall under that ace as we fall for white people ever since we came into this country in the year 1555 aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Right.
I know you can't report it, but
I can't use all of it, but I mean, I'll use.
I doubt you're going to use any of it, but right here, I got it. And my people know I got it. They're going up. I got it. That's what I do. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The best thing you can have in your life, always remember, is patience. Patience and humility will carry you where nothing else will. Always remember. Don't let nobody shake your boat. As long as you know your boat is on the wall, and you're in God's hands. Don't let that shake. I may get loud, but I'm just cool sometimes.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I know. Wait, I'm on camera with you.
Council.
Chief, you do have the car, right?
Yes, we're in the car and all equipment.
We're going through this service again. When we get the service in a good individual, when they run up the service, the city needs to pay. We shouldn't be having to go through this. And this is the reason why this city is messed up right now. We got money, we ain't got money. We bankrupt, we got plenty of money. We paid the bill, we didn't pay the bill. That's why we need an audit, because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know where all the money is. I don't know where the money is. I don't know where every account the city has been. I do know I counted 19 accounts. We need to get out and review these accounts and see that we need to consolidate, do away with some. Some have been dormant for years. Those are the ones that need to be closed. Not to actually look at what has transpired through those accounts. And the auditor has been requesting this information, we can't get it.
So, do we have enough money allocated to pay for this car? It's already been paid.
Yes, ma'am.
It's in the squash, the money in the squash.
Okay.
Fire and police come out squad.
I make a motion, we pay that invoice for the police car this time.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Please sign the check tonight, please.
Please. All right. All in favor? Any opposed?
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. Strange things happen in the state of Georgia. This is why I asked Governor Deal, Sam Olson, and others to step in. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. I just happen to be here in Gordon at this time. This is the same thing that's happening in Meigs, Georgia. We have to understand that the Meigs mayor has been arrested twice she has received 2 criminal trespass warnings. Each one of her her brothers, Edward, I think have received 2 trespass warnings. Also, Calvin has received 2. The mayor was kicked out of her office. Then they gave her another office. Then they locked the door to that office in Meigs, and she could not get in. You know, I've been saying what I've been saying for a long time. Georgia has some strange laws, and we had better get on top of this. All this is nothing more than to circumvent the voting process in the state of Georgia. Now, if you go back and Google and research Equipment 10+2, what has happened in Meigs, Georgia, Gordon, Georgia, Davisboro, Georgia, Warrenton, Georgia, Dawson, Georgia, and others that I have been notified of, there is something seriously wrong here. And I can't understand why the Justice Department under Eric Holder, along with the...
I want to address, Mayor, can I say one more thing? I want to address the fact, and I'm not ashamed to address the gap that's orders as long as we can get it. On my personal level, I don't trust it. That's me. I'm speaking for me. Because when I get a lawsuit for this city and my name in there, and Mr. Boone said I talked to him, blah, 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 and he only presented one side, I got a side too. Now, I know what transpired with some conversations we had. I'm speaking on my side. I cannot work with people I don't trust. In 19 years, I have never called to ask any legal advice. Now we get these calls, get legal advice. Everything we say to get the information to move the city forward, it's thrown against us. It's open meeting violation. You shouldn't have done it. You harassed us. I have not harassed anybody. That's not my name. And I don't appreciate reading in a lawsuit, you harassed somebody. Why not get my side before you do the lawsuit? You was an attorney that represents the city, not half of it. And I don't appreciate that. That's my standard, that I cannot work with people that I cannot trust.
Thank you. Streets, Council Whipple.
Legal and insurance business, and overall, looks like Robert did an excellent job in coming up with some coverage in a short period of time. The only other concern I would have, which is outside of his control too, is the law enforcement liability and the public officials rates, which are high, pretty mild. The issue I have is, I'm not, without seeing the policy, and I don't know, it may well be the same policy, but directors and officers are traditionally a little bit different from the public official liability. And again, without seeing the policy, I don't know if it would cover things like civil rights violations or violating somebody's economic rights or different things like that that are not traditionally covered under what's called a D&O policy.
Well, under theirs it is, but they excluded it for our standpoint because we've got so many lawsuits right now. That is part of our the change that they made on the D&O policy or the other policy is that what they did is they excluded employment practice, which is going to be just about everything he just said. You know, those items are excluded from this particular policy.
So I guess what I'm saying is, going into this, thinking you've got full public official liability insurance may not be the whole story.
Well, you've got a $25,000, they call it retention, it's still a deduction. It doesn't matter what you call it. They call it a retention in it, but it's still the same thing. It's, you know, and I don't need any misunderstanding coming down the road, it's a deduction. They're giving us,
Well, did anybody else try to get some insurance?
I think everybody tried, but
I mean,
we tried with every other company that we knew of to try, and nobody would even.
I mean, I called a witness something myself. I mean, and they were saying that they had sent 2 applications to the lawyer, but then they're saying, I don't know what happened to the application. This was in April. Since you presented that, I hadn't
Well, see, you know, some of them, they knew they couldn't get it, so they weren't gonna bother coming down here to fill out the normal application. They said if you'll fill out the application, then we'll look at it. We'll send it to the company to look at it, but, I mean, just the applications are, you know, that's the application, just for part of it. It doesn't count the supplemental acts. So, you know, it gets into the lengthy process.
Guys, that sounds like a good time to go ahead and just go ahead and begin talking, and that's about all I can do tonight. As all of you in this audience can see, there's only 3 council persons here tonight. This makes 3 meetings in a row when we have not had a quorum of council to have a council meeting, so the business of the city of Gordon cannot move forward, and there's very little that we can do tonight without a full council or full quorum. So I appreciate all of y'all coming out tonight, and hopefully by the next meeting we'll be able to work something out, and we'll be able to get all of our council in here with us so that we can get back on track with the business of the city of Gordon. I appreciate y'all coming tonight. Thank y'all.
This is the Ghetto Free Press. No actions were taken. However, in previous council meetings, there have been told me don't support me. I have never, no one has ever seen me grab anybody's camera. Nobody has ever seen me touch another human being in Gordon. And I'm saying that is the temple in this area. And this is why the governor of the state of Georgia, or the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, or Georgia Attorney General Sam Olsen need to come here into these southern towns and try to put an end to this before this get out of hand. We have pleaded in several cities, and we have asked that our leaders come to try and resolve the situation. As you can see, the tensions are high, but I have never taught anyone. Yet this afternoon, the young lady grabbed my camera, as you saw. As you listen, please, listen. Georgia needs to step in. Nathan Deal, Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. This is why the Georgia elected officials need to come into Gordon, Georgia. This is why the governor of the state of Georgia, the Georgia Attorney General, for Eric Holder, the Justice Department, President Barack Obama, in all these southern cities. This is what is happening. And yet nobody, NAACP, the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, notice, look, listen.
All right.
Long as they know, we support them.
Once again. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Ryan. I think that we've had a good showing tonight, and people are really concerned about what's going on in Gordon. But it is indeed time for somebody to come in and put an end to this. Excuse me, have you been to these meetings before?
Yes, I have.
Meetings like this, have you not heard the Mayor Pro Tem ask for comments from the audience at all the other meetings?
Oh, sure, every single time. But this time, he wanted to hurry up and just end the meeting.
This is the first time I've seen it.
The very first time, because we've shown up, he wanted to hurry up and get us out of there. He didn't want to hear anything we had to say.
We now want to turn the floor to Minister Ernest Whipple, Elder Ernest Whipple. He has some words he wants to say to everybody. Listen up.
Listen up. First of all, we would like to thank everybody for their participation and your support on tonight. We got a great start. We need to continue. We know who we elected in as our mayor. Amen. And we're not in the 60s and the 80s and 70s anymore.
Right. That's right.
And our vote does count.
That's right.
And to make our vote count, we're showing them by our participation, by coming out, supporting the person we elected,
That's right.
which is Mary Ann Whipple.
Yeah.
We did not vote for Terry Eden. No. Matter of fact, he didn't even run.
No, he didn't run.
And another fact is when he did run, we didn't vote for him then.
We said no.
And surely we didn't vote for him then. We definitely don't want him now. So we support the mayor. We support the mayor.
Mayor Lou.
We support the mayor.
Mayor Lou.
We support the mayor.
Mayor Lou.
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George. How you doing, sir? You have anything you'd like to say?
We support the mayor, the Mary Ann Lou, Whipple Lou, not a social.
Terry Edith.
Terry Edith.
Thank you very much. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. You have anything you want to say?
Sure.
Okay.
I think that tonight was a good turnout, and as you see, I don't think any of the other new supporters asked the real concerned citizens about how we felt. So we are starting, and we need more support for anybody who can just come and help, because as you see, the city of Gordon really needs help because we support our mayor and we want who we voted in. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and we must commend the Wilkerson County Post. At least there's no negative on the front page of this Wilkerson County Post for August the 14th, 2014. When we turn to the center of the page, we will see headlines reads, Gordon Mayor attends State Democratic Conference. We want to commend the Wilkerson County Post. But once again, there's very little write-up, but guess what? Look at the picture, look at the picture, look at the picture, look at the picture. Normally, well, do you think they could have found a better picture? we are going to continue to show the biases and what is being done to make an elected official in the state of Georgia look bad when all they have to do is what is right in God's world. And do you not know that during the days of segregation, when certain governors was beating up on blacks across America, well, I'll tell you what, stay tuned. We're going to give you the rest of the truth, because in the final analysis, truth will win, and everybody will know what the real deal is. The Ghetto Free Press. Bye-bye. We're gone. Keep doing what you do, Madam Mayor. You got the support of the people out here on the street. But then again,
I want to address America. I say one more thing. I want to address this back, and I'm not ashamed to address the gap access orders as long as we can get it. On my personal level, I don't trust it. That's me. I'm speaking for me. Because when I get a lawsuit for this city and my name in there, and Mr. Boone said I talked to him, blah, 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 and he only presented one side, I got a side too. Now, I know what transpired with some conversations we had. I'm speaking on my side. I cannot work with people I don't trust. In 19 years, I have never called to ask any legal advice. Now we get these calls get legal advice. Everything we say to get the information to move the city forward is thrown against us. It's open meeting violation. You shouldn't have done it. You harassed her. I have not harassed anybody. That's not my name. And I don't appreciate reading in a lawsuit, you harass somebody. Why not get my side before you do the lawsuit? You was an attorney that represents the city, not half of it.
All right.
And I don't appreciate that. That's my standard. That I cannot work with people that I cannot trust.
Thank you, Councilman. Streets, Council Whipple.
How you doing, folks? Andy Priddy here with the 11 Alive Investigators. Let me tell you about a story that is starting to develop that we are working on right now. You may have heard about claims of voter suppression in Georgia and the Secretary of State's office getting sued for putting voter registrations on hold. Well, let me tell you about details about voter intimidation you may not have heard yet. I bet you haven't heard yet. It involves a grandmother in Georgia who almost went to prison for assisting a voter.
I know you before you started.
We go back
a long way. We were next door neighbors.
She's not on this year's ballot, but it's easy to see why Olivia Coley Pearson has served 19 years on Douglas City Council, unopposed.
So we all go way back.
She knows her constituents.
Thank you, sweetie.
While popular in her district, Coley Pearson's toughest political battle happened last year. Not on city council.
You committed false swearing. No, sir.
But in a Coffee County courtroom facing felony charges. It started with a complaint filed with the Georgia Secretary of State's office. The claim, illegally assisting voters in 2012. Listen to an audio recording between a state investigator and a voter Coley Pearson helped.
Do you know why Miss Pearson signed the back of the voter certificate that she was assisting you?
Because I didn't know what to do, what I ought to do.
Was that the first time using the machine?
Yeah, that was my first time.
At the end there where you have to push the button to cast your ballot, who pushed that?
Me.
And that's what happened. That's what I was criminally charged for in terms of assisting a voter.
Were you on the ballot?
No.
Here we go again.
Reverend Rudolph Porter is a local pastor.
If she could have gone to prison for that, I guarantee you could serve all the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the Coca-Colas in the world. People wouldn't have gone to the polls ever again in this county if she would have been found guilty.
They would have been that afraid to go.
Absolutely. In fact, I would have started voting absentee.
How's it going? Mark Loudon Brown is an attorney for the Southern Center for Human Rights and represented Coley Pearson.
I don't know what the motive was, but it certainly, as an outsider, makes you think they're trying to send a message to people of color.
You good, David?
I'm good. All right.
I'm just going to have you say your name and your title for me, and we're going to go down the line.
Hi, I'm Presley Senior, President of Coffee County Branch of the
Reverend Rudolph Porter, pastor of Shallow Missionary Baptist Church, Tifton, Georgia.
George Ryan to get to the place.
So we're here today to talk about Ms. Pearson's case where she was found not guilty. But before she was not found guilty, she went through a lot. When you first heard of the charges, what was your response? And by the way, we're going to go all throughout the line. I'm just going to look at you, and then we'll go down the line, if that's okay. So when you first found out about her charges, and you learned it specifically what she was charged with, what was your response?
Well, her being charged with something didn't surprise me. You want to tell you why?
Why?
Because she's outspoken. One of the most outspoken commissioner in this town. And she's a people person. And they got a problem, they seek her out. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, if they get rid of Olivia Coley Pearson and get somebody else in that seat, I think somebody have more control of the city. And that's what they want.
I said, here we go again. Ms. Pearson is a lady of character. She's concerned about the least among us, the last among us, the lost among us, and the left out among us. I call her a champion of lost causes. She takes on causes everybody else walk away from and say they're hopeless. So my first reaction was, here we go again. They're picking on Olivia Pearson.
I would pretty much say the same thing. And being a journalist out here, I cover so many cities. And when I got a call to this area, and I started looking into her situation, I said to myself, it's just another move from the Secretary of State's office, a consistent pattern and practice to intimidate, suppress, control, put fear in elderly people, and to remove black elected officials from office.
Remove them from office?
Yes, it goes that far, yes.
Fox News ate that up.
July 2010, this little town. But we stood up for what was right. Save Shirley Sherrod, and we stood up for what was right when they tried to railroad Olivia Pearson.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and briefly chat with us. Really doing it.
I thank you, man. I thank you.
I'm going to think of that, but I think it was my fifth one. Cut that out. Cut that one. Cut that number out.
Y'all did a great job.
Yeah, that was terrible.
No, Alex, Sheriff Sherrod came here, and they fired her.
That was
I was
here
telling
in
you that
Douglas.
Andy.
They fired her.
Here in Douglas.
Yeah, here it does.
At your NAACP meeting?
At our banquet.
Freedom
Freedom
Fund
banquet. The biggest event we had.
Who took the video and
Johnny Wilkerson. And Breitbart somehow purchased a copy of it from him.
who's this Johnny person?
He does the video for the city of Douglas, our city council meetings.
They'll put you in touch with her if you want to get a copy of it.
And she was fired. They doctored it up, and they fired her. And she kept saying, look at the
Or was
tape.
it just on YouTube and he just took it off? I guess sometimes.
No.
It
No.
airs
never been
on
on
TV
YouTube or
around
anything.
here.
Yeah, it airs on their local channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing's hid. We air
Right.
we air every one.
But they
I
spliced
think she
it.
made a joke that this white farmer came to her and that something that she could have said, I'm not going to help this white guy, but then she said, well, of course I was going to.
And they took it out of context. Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper, in fact.
CNN, it was CNN.
In
Say
fact,
somebody else took
yeah.
chewing tobacco too.
Yeah.
But they came to her defense because they knew who she was and what she did.
Yes. And we went to the courtroom and stood with Miss Pearson, and there were a lot of blacks in this town afraid to outwardly support her.
Yes, that's
I
true.
guess they're scared to lose
Are you
their
afraid
job at
you'll
the
be
chicken
next?
plant or the peanut. Well, you got a chicken plant here, peanut plant, what else?
DCC.
DCC.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mark Loudon Brown is an attorney for the Southern Center for Human Rights and represented Coley Pearson.
I don't know what the motive was, but it certainly, as an outsider, makes you think they're trying to send a message to people of color.
Governor have made it very purposeful that they will send the message that if you are African American and if you run for office and if you honestly win the election, you will be punished.
The prosecution changed the wording on the ballots to prosecute Lula Smart. The language was not there in 2010. They changed it on the ballot to make it look like she was guilty. The prosecution suppressed evidence.
Yes, sir.
They hid evidence.
Show they did. I'm a witness.
Show them. Speak it. Tell the truth.
I believe that we ought to demand, as concerned citizens,
Yes.
that they drop the charges on every remaining member.
Hurts me
investigation, lied on the stand, falsified documents.
That's right.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand. Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand. All to try to make these citizens look guilty.
David Miller, he was caught on perjury on the stand. You have the old voter registration lady, where she was taking ballots home. And once those ballots come in, those voters, absentee ballots come in, they're supposed to be up on the lock and key. You're not supposed to take it home. You can add a fourth person in there because she and her granddaughter helped her with it.
These people's names have been tarnished, their reputation besmirched. They have been talked about, accused of different things, and now they are proven innocent. How are you going to get the horse back in the... How will you restore these people's good name and reputation?
How you doing, folks? Andy Prady here with the 11 Alive Investigators. Let me tell you about a story that is starting to develop that we are working on right now. You may have heard about claims of voter suppression in Georgia and the Secretary of State's office getting sued for putting voter registrations on hold. Well, let me tell you about details about voter intimidation you may not have heard yet. I bet you haven't heard yet. It involves a grandmother in Georgia who almost went to prison for assisting a voter.
I know you before you started.
We go back a long way. We were next door neighbors.
She's not on this year's ballot, but it's easy to see why Olivia Coley-Pearson has served 19 years on Douglas City Council, unopposed.
So we all go way back.
She knows her constituents.
Thank you, sweetie.
While popular in her district, Coley-Pearson's toughest political battle happened last year. Not on city council.
You committed false swearing, did you? No, sir.
But in a Coffee County courtroom facing felony charges.
I will not agree.
It started with a complaint filed with the Georgia Secretary of State's office. The claim, illegally assisting voters in 2012. Listen to an audio recording between a state investigator and a voter Coley-Pearson helped.
Do you know why Miss Pearson signed the back of the vote certificate that she was assisting you?
Because I didn't know what to do, what I ought to do.
Was that the first time using the machine?
Yeah, that was my first time.
At the end there where you have to push the button to cast your ballot, who pushed that?
Me.
And that's what happened. That's what I was criminally charged for in terms of assisting a voter.
Were you on the ballot?
No.
Here we go again.
Reverend Rudolph Porter is a local pastor.
If she could have gone to prison for that, I guarantee you could serve all the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the Coca-Colas in the world. People wouldn't have gone to the polls ever again in this county.
All rise.
Thank you. You may be seated.
They didn't have a case. They were hoping that they would take the plea. But when they didn't do that, they had to prove their case. And if you were in the courtroom,
That's right.
you would have seen one of the biggest fiascos you ever wanted to see in your life.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
The witnesses lied on the stand.
Yes, yes, yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right.
Yes.
Falsified documents.
That's right.
Yes.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
Yes.
Sure did.
Yes. Yes.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right.
Yes.
Falsified documents.
That's right.
Yes.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
Yes.
Sure did.
Yes. Yes.
Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand.
Sure did.
Yes.
All to try to make these citizens look guilty.
That's right. My Lord.
But thank God that we have a God who sits high.
Come on now.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, Lord. Yes,
Lord.
Lord.
That's right.
The prosecution changed the wording on the ballots to prosecute Lula Smart. The language was not there in 2010. They changed it on the ballot to make it look like she was guilty. The prosecution suppressed evidence.
Yes, sir.
They hid evidence.
Show they did. I'm a witness.
Show them. Speak it. Tell the truth.
I believe that we ought to demand, as concerned citizens,
Yes.
that they drop the charges on every remaining member.
There it is.